So, hello everyone, and welcome to another session for our BASPRG2. So, um, today we're gonna talk more about encapsulation. It's a continuation of yung OOP natin, and like I've showed you before, I showed you like public, right? So we're gonna talk more about that public, and then we're gonna talk about the other access modifiers and whatnot. Okay. So before we begin, does anyone have any questions regarding a previous topic or do you have any problem with the previous topic? None. Okay. Sige. So, sige. Before we do this, I may have forgotten to change tong exercise 4. So exercise 4, which is OP, I'm gonna move it this week, starting today until next week, July 16. I will post, I may have forgotten to post rin yung OOP natin. But I'll post the recordings for the OOP in our class recordings. So there's that. Then for data encapsulation, you can't see this yet, but um, we'll have our quiz 3 starting next week. Okay, so this week we'll just have an exercise. The exercise is not related to um, data encapsulation at all. Wala siyang kinalaman. It's more of just OOP. But yeah, uh, next week start natin yung quiz. Okay? So sige. Encapsulation. What do you think when you first hear? What do you think of when you first hear encapsulation? Or to encapsulate? What does that mean to you? Securing? Some yeah. Uh-huh. Grouping. To encapsulate. Not necessarily grouping. Kinda, but not necessarily. Contain, yes. Yeah, something like that. So cover everything, and we have a more specific answer. Right. So yeah. So when you encapsulate, it's like you're not necessarily hiding, but you're keeping things in a certain way. You contain it somehow. So keep that in mind. So to encapsulate, you're trying to contain things. Later on you'll find out that we want things to be only seen within the class, or maybe you want it to be seen outside the class, etc, etc. Okay, so is there a problem in our attack function? So here's our attack function. Remember from last week? So we have the target, and then all we have to do is when we want to attack the killer bunny, we minus the HP with empower, or the power of the int of this class. And then you have the print. So does anyone find anything wrong with this function? None? Okay. What if, yeah. So what if the target HP is already like 1 and the power is, let's say, 20? What happens if we minus HP, which is 1, and the power is 20? What number do we get? We have a negative HP. So for others, this is okay. We somehow try to fix this maybe in our code. But the problem is, let's say maybe have a you want to show it in text form or you want to show it in a bar, no? Then if you show a negative, that means you have the bar going way beyond the limit of the the HP bar, no? Or maybe um yeah. So more of like there was one of the cases. It's either maybe you want to print it out so that when you dealt more than the HP, maybe you only want it to be zero, like 0/10, no? Instead of seeing a negative 19/10. So that's one of the reasons why we want to try to um things into zero, into to make the minimum number as zero. So yeah, so it's not good. Like I said, it could go beyond the bar. So a quick and dirty fix is in within the attack function, you would have a check. You will check if the HP is less than zero. If it is, then you make it MHP is equal to zero. So the thing is, you'll have to kind of repeat this code every time you modify MHP. What happens if you try to heal? No? What happens if you try to heal way beyond the maximum HP? Then you'll have 1,000/500. Not only nalampas na yung bar, but you made the character even more tankier, right? So what if instead of attack, we have another function, maybe like damage over time kind of thing, where every turn you take something damage. Maybe it's a different function, no? So you have to also do the same thing. Target if target MHP is less than zero, target MHP is equal to zero. So everyone has full control over the value of MHP. This makes it very difficult to track who changed the value. Okay, questions here? So this one, second part, uh, if you have access, because right now you see that we are checking if the target's MHP is less than zero. What if another function another class also has some kind of check? What if some other class has check if the damage is if I don't know HP is maybe less than 10, then uh we make it to zero right away, right? So like an instant kill. And the thing is, uh we don't want everyone to have full control. I mean everyone. I mean we don't want all the classes to have full control the uh, of the properties or the variables of other classes. We may want to contain it somehow. So what we do is we try to encapsulate. So if we encapsulate variables and functions, we try to contain it within maybe the class or maybe allow it outside the class or maybe within the child classes, which you'll be learning later on. So encapsulation is a process of combining variables and methods in a single unit called class. So data cannot be accessed directly. You will have to use accessor functions such as getters and setters. This way you have full control of the of the properties or variables or even functions. So this prevents our data from being set to an unwanted value, such as like the negative HP or maybe beyond the maximum HP. So we use accessor functions. Access function filters data that is going in and out of an instance. Okay, so we use these to somehow control the the variables. Maybe you only want it to be a minimum of of maybe not zero, maybe a minimum of five, right? Like let's say if I wanna compute damage, what if we want to make the damage the minimum value of damage should be 5 lang or 10 because we don't want the game to deal negative damage, right? So that's one way. We control it, we filter it within the class. Okay? Questions so far? None? Okay. So now we go to access modifiers. This is how you start to encapsulate your variables and functions. So these access modifiers tells the tells the code whether things can be accessed maybe anywhere or within or within the again child classes which I get later on pa. Okay. So for now we have public and private. If you have a public access modifier, it can be accessed anywhere. Whoever has a reference, right, of the instance, then they can easily access the the variables as long as it's in public. However, if it's in private, the only class that can access these variables and functions is the class itself. So when you imagine private, it is only within the class. No one else can access this. Okay? So all data members or variables should be private. We do this so that we have full control of the variables. Questions, clarification about this part? None? Okay. So we'll try to make this clear lang. Public, yung mga, you can use it for the functions. You can also make functions private. It really depends. Maybe you want it, maybe you want the function to only be used within the class. So sure, you can make it private. But as much as possible, we try to make our variables private. So if data members are private, how do I access them? How are we able to access these variables if it's private? What if I want to access it outside? Right? So we have the thing called accessor methods. So accessor methods are functions or methods so that we are able to access these functions. So it counts kind of what you call this? Parang weird, no? Bakit pa natin ginawang private if we're gonna create a function to get it naman, right? Sounds kind of weird, but the thing is, we do this again so we have full control, so that we don't accidentally give access to another programmer. Let's say, no, we don't give it access to these members because they might change it, no, and then we want to know bakit biglang nagalaw to. Yung pala, another programmer changed it. So we do this. We use accessor methods. So there are two methods for this. We have one is called a getter. So just by the name, a getter is a method that just gets the variable that you want. So we can put get as a start so that we know that it's a getter kind of function, right? And then if you want, you can put the name as well. So you see here, it's only just get HP and then return MHP, right? So right now, parang dali naman to. But what if you want, again, what if you want to limit the no, the MHP? What if you want to show another kind of thing, no? So there's those, like, I mean, like maybe a percentage. Then you have to change things. Okay, so how does it look like? This is our demo, OP. So remember, ginawa natin public to. So let's try to make it private. Let me scroll in. You'll see that the moment I made this private, everything is going red. Because since we made it private, it is only accessible within the class. And here, di natin makuha because we are accessing it outside of the class. So let's, for now, make this private. And let's make this public. So that's all you need. Private. And then just colon. You can put more. We can separate things. Maybe you want another private here. Or maybe void calculate uh, HP. No? So pwede naman to. You can have multiple instances. I mean, uh, lines of like private or public. So pwede to. So right now, we want to create a getter. So we can put it here. So it's a getter. So we have to return the actual the variable, no, with the right data type. So if I want a getter for the MHP, we need a int as well. Get HP or string. What if our name? No, the same thing. What if I want a name? We put a string get name. So it's not required to have get again. It's just that we put it so that we already know that this is a getter. And same thing with mpower, we can have int get power. There. Then if you try to implement it, again, you can do this. This is for Visual Studio. You can click on the screwdriver, create definition, or maybe right click, quick action, create definition. There. So right now it's return 0. We can do MHP. So this works because we are still working within the class. This is still Archer. Archer Parento. That's why we are able to access MHP. So same thing here with get name. We can have m name. And finally get power. We can get m power. So you can do this, or if you want, you can just put this. Same thing. So this, this is not really required naman, but parang in case nalilito kayo, we can put this. This meaning the actual class. No? So this arrow and power. So same thing. Questions for getter. None. So in here we can get, right now we can't set it, no. Uh, so right here we can get name. Wala pa tayong wala pa tayong setter sa mga dito. Get name and then get power and get HP. Right? All right, I think our killer bunny also has. Nope, it doesn't have. So yeah, this is our getter. Get HP and get power. No questions or clarification about our getter? None? None? Okay. Then we have the other thing, which is called a setter. So just by the name again, we set the value. And with a setter, you don't need to have the same data type as the variable or the member because we are just setting. So you can simply just use void. So same thing, we have void set HP, void set name, and void set power. Well, the thing is, how do we get the values? We can put a parameter. Like for HP, let's put int HP. Or for name, string name. Or for power, int power. You can also make it just value. Same thing. Value, value, value. Same bananas now. So if we create a definition, lalabas na to. For set HP, we have uh, mhp is equal to HP. But remember, what if what we're setting is a negative? So we can have a check here. If mhp is less than 0, mhp is equal to 0. So no matter what, in anywhere, in any class, whatever, when we set HP, we are making sure here that it remains 0 if it goes beyond 0. Right? So we can do the same thing again for the others, but in this time, like the name, I don't really need to check anything. Or power, and power is equal to power. If maybe you want to set that mpower, if mpower is less than 1, maybe you want mpower is equal to 1. So it's up to you, right? So that means all of this, we have set HP. We are setting it to 100. Same thing here, set name. Oops. And then we have also have set power. And we can do the same thing here also. So putting here set HP, set name, and set power. Okay, so that's it. Getters and setters. Dali lang, di ba? So this is our access methods. So setters act as a checkpoint or filter. In this case, we filter that it only can go to 0. That's the minimum number. Right? Questions? Clarification about this one? Accessor methods? None? Okay. So, what if I don't really need to filter anything? So, like what we did a while ago with the name and the power, we can literally just set this to m name is equal to name and power is equal to power. Okay. So, yeah, I don't think you have any questions here. So again, so why the hassle? Why are we doing this extra step? No, because again, right now you're only coding with yourself, by yourself, so you already know what to do, what not to do. But the thing is, what if you start working with another person? The moment you work with another person, they have full access to everything. What if you made again? So what if maybe you made HP not to public? Then they can make it to any number. They wouldn't care, right? But for you, you would know that hey, I should only make HP to less than to zero if it is a negative. But only you know that. So we use this. We use this as a precaution in case that when you work in another programmer, they use this so that they don't accidentally do something that will break your code, right? So you have to set the rules which parts of our class are hidden, which are accessible. Do not trust any programmer. Yep. So that's why we do this. Restricting access forces other programs to do it in the correct way. Yeah. So doing this, uh, later on, you'll be working with other programmers, and the moment you give them access to everything, high chance they might just mess yung code mo. So we do this. We do this to to make it safe, both for you and for the other programmer, right? So you have to be clear with their intentions, not by word of mouth. So we don't want to just say, hey, don't, if you change the HP, dapat hanggang max HP or to zero lang. Hindi. Code it yourself. Code it yourself so that they are forced to use it. So that they may not, accidentally forget it. Ay, pala, sinabi pala ako na dapat hanggang zero lang. Right? What if nalimot nila? So you do this. You code it this way so that you control it. So practice discipline. Every bit of this adds up to make you a good programmer. Okay? So it's a good practice. It's a good practice on using on encapsulation. It's a very good practice. We really don't want to give access to everything. We want to control it so that no the other programmers wouldn't care about it. The other programmers don't need to know what it does. Because sometimes ganun yun eh. Let's say your teammate is working on another class. You're working on this class, and they have to interact with each other. You only want to give access to the other programmers to variables and functions they that will be useful for them. We don't want them to see how we deal the damage or whatnot. We don't want them to have access to other variables. No, maybe we just want to control it. We just want to say you can just use just to set HP, the attack, the other functions, right? But uh how it runs, we just keep it private lang. So practice. It's good practice. Questions? Clarification here? None. Kuha nyo naman. speak now, you know, baka na nilito kayo somewhere, like why, what is public private? No? Okay, I believe. Next, we can learn something about constructors. So remember that we had set HP, get HP. But what if we don't want them to have set HP? What if when they create an instance, it already has the HP that you need, right? Because what if you don't want them to have access to power? Like they can change the power, but you have to set it somehow, right? So we use something called a constructor. So it is a special function which is called when the class is instantiated. So we can use this to initialize variables. So by default, this function doesn't take any parameter. It is literally just an empty a function that's walang laman yung parameter. The built-in constructor doesn't do anything at all. Literally empty siya. So you can create your own constructor with custom parameters, and it can be used to force client code to provide initial data. So only one constructor can be used at a time per instance. What does that mean? Again, constructors are called when you instantiate. There is no way for you to call two kinds of constructors in one instance of a class. The moment you instantiate it, it depends on what constructor you use. Okay, so what does it look like? A constructor is literally the let's put the name of it. Public here. Public. It's literally just the name of the class and then open close parenthesis. So very special, no? You'll notice wala siyang void, wala siyang int, wala siyang string, wala siyang whatever. It is literally just archer, open close parenthesis. That's it. And if you do this, we can say that if there's empty, maybe we want the HP. MHP is equal to 100, and power is equal to 10, and then the name, M name, is equal to archer. So this is when we call an empty constructor. And how does it look like? It is literally this. This is where the constructor is used. So if you notice, if I remove this, archer 2, archer 2 is the second one. If you play this, you will see that it is archer, HP 100, power 10. We never set anything here. There's nothing here. It's only set in this constructor. So if it changes again, maybe 1000, this is 100, this is archer stocks. You play this, and you'll see, again, it has changed. HP is 1000, power is 100. The name is archer stocks. Okay, so that is where you use the constructor. What if you want just to change the HP, no? Yung pangalan, kahit archer na lang. So we have archer int HP. Right? So that means in here, with HP, I want MHP is equal to HP. And then maybe M power is equal to 10. And M name is equal to archer. Archer HP. And how do we use this? So like I shown a while ago, this is the constructor na. If I put a int here, because you see here we used int. If I put the int here, maybe 999, it will take it because we are now using this constructor. If I play it, we now have Archer HP. HP is 999, power is 10. Okay? So what's happening here is this is what you call we are we are overloading. We are overloading a function. We are using the same name of the function except that it has different parameters. So we are overloading it. So like here, let's overload it again. We want string name, int HP, and int power. And then we create definition. What happened here? Don't mind it. And name. No, I'll mind it. What's happening? And name. You're literally here. What happened? What happened? And here's just there. Got whatever. M name is equal to name. MHP is equal to HP. And M power is equal to power. So in here, maybe we want to use, this is Archer 2 with a HP of 50 and a power of 10. And now we have this Archer 2, HP of 50, power of 10. So this way, what if, like again, what if you don't want the anyone else to use set, the set HP, set name, set power, or maybe we don't want them to use set name and set power? We can move that. Maybe we can remove this, and we'll just make sure that they do it in the constructor. So like here, this will be Archer 1, what are you? HP 100, 5, right? Because we maybe want to use set HP when dealing damage. Okay, so yeah, and you'll see here, same thing. Oops, right. I remember. I just deleted the other set. Ayan. So it still works the same. It's just that we are setting the initial values of the variables in the constructor. Questions? Clarification? So again, you can still use set HP, set power. Okay lang. But what if you like just in case lang you don't want anyone else to use these setters. Then we can just make it as a constructor. We can initialize it there. Questions? May nalilito ba? None? Okay. Oops. So, do I use constructor or just initialize the properties? So, it entirely depends on your intention, on what you want to do. If you want your variables to be set only during initialization, you can have a constructor You can provide the data via constructor and just have getters. If you want to force the user to set the variables during initialization and still allow modifications, then do both. Provide data via constructor and create a getter and setter accessors. If you want data to be optional, you don't need a constructor. You can just leave it blank. But how do we how will they be able to access these members? No, how do you set them? Then you must have the getters and setters. Finally, if you want the data to be set internally, do not include the data in the constructor list, meaning we can just use this one. In case you don't want to use any data at all, then we just use this. Kahit wala nang laman sa parameters. And again, only provide the getter accessor. So it really depends. It really depends on what you want. Questions? Kuha pa? Okay. I believe. Oh, someone's a bit, but I'll try. Oh yeah, yeah. You can play around. Play around with this. So if you're gonna update the attack method, since our set HP has a check for negative values, we can just use here, where is that? Our attack. Ah, my bad. Killer Bunny is still using. He must have a getter setter for this. Private, public, and then make sure we have public. Oops. Int get get HP, int get power, int get name. Sorry. String get name. Oops. Forgot. These are functions. These are methods. Same thing. Void set HP, int HP. Oops. Void set power, int power. And then void set name, string name. And I'm maybe lazy, so let's just put a killer bunny with string name. Oh no, I don't want the name. I just want power and HP. Int HP, int power. So let's create all this definition. And name is equal to killer bunny. MHP is equal to HP. And power equal to power. And we set all these, or maybe just this one. Kahit ito lang. MHP is equal to HP. Then we have to check if MHP is less than, oops. Yeah, tama. Less than 0. MHP is equal to 0. So kahit yun muna. So in here, is 100, then get HP. Let me just create a definition and then create it. Return MHP. Get HP. Okay, so sorry, back here. So wala na to, diba? We will do bunny enemy set HP. Then we minus the bunny enemies get HP. We minus it with the power of the archer. Ayan. Oh wait, so we have a get name here. Let me just make a get name. Get name, return, and name. Where are we at? Get name. Yeah. So now, each time we set HP, we are making sure that the minimum is 0 and not a negative number. And it should pop up the same thing for that. Yeah, 95. Ah, right. So, sorry. Let me go. Uh, let's make its power to 999. And then you'll see that the HP is 0. Let me just put here. Bunny get name HP. Ayan, para di tayo malito. Ayan. The killer bunny HP is now 0. Instead of negative 899. Okay? So, yeah. Questions? Clarification? So, you can try it out yourself. See, you can match the answer key, yep, of this. Alright. So, no questions? All good? Go on yun naman. Okay. There's no questions. So, again, next week we have a quiz. Right now, we have a OP exercise that is due next week. This one, I think, should be relatively easy for you guys. Yeah. This is easy. If not, again, feel free to message me. I'm always open naman. If you have a problem with understanding something, I'm always available to help you. Okay? So again, last, any questions about anything besides, if not about encapsulation? You have any questions about something else? None. Do you refer to the same type sites you suggested when learning more? You could still have C++ point tutorial. A tutorial point. You could still have. They still have encapsulate. Where are we at? What's the name? Access modifiers. Access. Access modifier. Right. So this is the public and private. You can still use this. This also has. I don't think they have like getter setter, but you have like return types. Right. But it does tell you about the accessor methods. Yeah, I don't see it. Or is it here? Encapsulation. Encapsulation, barely anything. So there's that. You can still use this. It also has. I was supposed to say something. It also has something. What? Already forgot what I was about to say. But yeah, you can still use this, or you can just message me if you have a question about anything, anything about C++. I'm always available. Okay, so there's no harm. There's no harm in asking questions, naman. You won't get immediately like uh minus, no. Wala namang ganun. All right. Any other questions? Besides tutorial point, there's so many other. There's so many other tutorials. This one I sometimes use also. Right? So if there are no questions, again, next week you have a quiz. This week you have a exercise that is due. It is OP and should be available. But yeah, uh, that's it for today. You guys can enjoy your night. Again, feel free to message me if you need any help. So yeah, that's it for today. You guys can go and enjoy your night.
We will still get a recording pa rin, sir? Or